Hi, my name is Nicole Cervantes, and I'm going to be presenting the JMT article that I read this week, which is Considering Gender Complexity in Music Teacher Education. And this was written by Joshua Palkey and William Sauerland. So to start off, I'll start with the same introduction that they used, which is this quote from a personal email. It says, "I'm a senior at a Southern State high school, and I'm a transgender male. I quit choir last year because my director forced me to wear a dress. I begged him to let me wear the attire of my gender identity, but he repeatedly refused, even after talking with the counselor about it. I was furious and miserable, and I quit. I'm just sad. I think my situation is beyond helping." So this really outlines the issue that is at hand with gender. So to start off, some vocabulary that is important to know as a teacher or just discussing these things is first, gender. That's a social construct imposing influence on roles, expectations, and behaviors. The next is biological sex. This is based on chromosomes, hormones, and body parts. The next is cisgender, which is referring to an individual whose gender given at birth matches their biological sex. The next is a trans woman. This is a woman assigned male at birth. The next is trans man. This is a man assigned woman at birth. And then there's transphobia, which is fear, prejudice, or aversion towards trans people. So this here is a policy that was created during Obama's administration and president. It's intended to guide public schools and universities in addressing gender identity expression. And a few things that it did was prevent discrimination, allow trans students access to restrooms and overnight accommodations in alignment with their gender identity. It allowed students to use their chosen name and pronouns in school, and to have their gender status, birth name, and assigned birth sex remain confidential. So these were all very significant things in helping trans people feel safe while they are at school. And however, in February of 2017, the current presidential administration formally rescinded these outlines. So in a survey given to students who are gender variant, it came out to be that 43% of these students have felt unsafe at school. So this is almost half of the students that have not had a good experience, have felt not good while they're at school. However, 97% of these students reported feeling supported by at least one staff member. So this is why this topic is so important in teaching the future teachers how to be that one staff member that helps the student to feel safe. A survey by Silvira and Goff, this was done in 2016. They surveyed over 600 music educators in 28 states. So this was a very wide survey. It came out that the general attitudes towards trans students was fairly positive. However, when given the statement, transgender students in choir should be permitted to sing with vocal part that aligns with their gender identity, 4 out of 10 disagreed or strongly disagreed. So some of the solutions that were given were for undergraduate course revisions, and this was in the method courses, so instrumental methods, choral methods, and elementary methods. For instrumental methods, some of the things they offered were to discuss gender stereotyping of instruments, complications of uniforms, honoring trans students on overnight trips. And then for choral methods, some things suggested were to compare, contrast, and discuss trans students' experiences in secondary choir, discuss policies and language influence on trans students, and engage with literature about trans singing. And for elementary methods, the things suggested were to discuss ways to counteract reification of gender binary and gender music, such as using the term boys and girls. And then also to look for nursery songs that avoid misogynistic references. And that was a summary of the article that I read. So feel free to give feedback. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this topic.